know, the next couple of days are going to be big days. Everybody's pretty psyched, and I think it's going to be really exciting.
It's pretty amazing, really. You've got this wall in front of you that allows about 20 turns all the way down the line, so there's a lot going through your mind. But it's pretty fun when you put everything together. Big combination of turns. Feels freaking amazing. Bring it on.
Welcome to the Quiksilver Pro, event number 1 of the Association of Surfing Professionals World Championship Tour for 2003. There are 13 events on this year's tour. It's an extraordinary adventure that will take the world's best surfers to the world's best waves in exotic locations around the globe. The journey starts here on the southeast coast of Queensland, Australia. It's called the Gold Coast, or to the locals, simply the Goldie. This combination of long sandy beaches and perfect weather has made the Gold Coast one of Australia's holiday capitals. But the Goldie is also a world surfing capital. Waves like Kira, Burleigh and Duranbar are surfing icons. Even the president of the ASP, Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew, was born and bred here.
The Gold Coast has always been a surfing town. It's been a great surfing destination since the 60s, really. It's a pretty fun place to surf. It's obviously very crowded now, but it's still a pretty fun atmosphere. And, you know, when the season's on, it's kind of like a machine, really. It breaks pretty often.
This is truly Surf City. Whether you're in the twilight of your surfing career or starting very, very young, there's a wave for everyone.
Luckily for everybody up here in Queensland, the waves are good and the points are long, and everybody's got a little section for themselves.
Professional surfing contests have been part of Gold Coast life for decades. The local crowds pack the beaches when an event is on. In this town, the surfers are superstars. With this incredible combination of world-class waves, weather and lifestyle, the first stop on the World Tour is a favourite with the elite international surfers.
Just because a combination is the best place, and then you've been off for so long that you're stoked to get back, and then you come to one of the best spots on tour. Surfing's unbelievable, man. Just can't get better, you know? Just rights all over the place, point breaks, reef breaks, we got beach breaks as well. We've got left sometimes, It's a perfect spot.
Surfing runs in the blood of this town, and with each generation, a new batch of surfers enters the water.
I've seen lots and lots of families move here and their kids all surf now. So, surfing touches a lot of dinner tables, a lot of school-age kids surf, and, for them it's Disneyland.
One of the best rides in this surfing Disneyland is a wave called Snapper Rocks. This will be the #1 competitive arena for the Quiksilver Pro. Snapper is a point break. Long, even waves run along a sandbar, creating a perfect moving wall of water. A wall that offers any surfer a dream ride.
Gosh, you just get going so fast. It's so easy just to ride, It's pretty much one of the most high-performance, best waves in the world, really.
The wave owes its magic to this jetty, and this innocuous little pipe happily pumping out what the local surfers now consider to be liquid gold, sand.
But, the sand is the lifeblood of this place, so it really needs the sand to do it, and the sand's great right now.
This was just bare rock out here, okay? There's a big hole out in front of Snapper Rocks, and it sucked. It just kind of turned into a crap ordinary wave, and magically, the great sand pumping system just kicked in, and it just started spewing sand out over there behind those rocks, and all of a sudden there's a beach here, and all of a sudden there's heaps of sand outside the rock at Snapper, and the wave's fantastic again. And wow, whoever's doing the pumping, thanks a lot. Good on you.
Basically, the sand bypass system's all about putting sand back in for southeast Queensland, dredging the river out, making a deeper entrance for New South Wales.
It's just pumped so much sand, it's just turned into every point's just linked up, and now it's one point.
It's definitely one of the longest waves in the world when it links up. You can ride from Snapper through Rainbow, through Greenmouth, through Coolangatta. Only one person I think's made it through to Kira yet, but it's a long, long wave,
While it's one of the longest waves in the world, it's also one of the most crowded. On a good day, hundreds and hundreds of surfers line the point, all fighting for their own piece of the magic wave. For the Quiksilver Pro, the crowds will be parted by jet ski mounted police, and the pro surfers will have the break to themselves.
Thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed the day. You are at the Quiksilver Pro.
Yeah, take your ocean with you, take your grommets with you.
There are 5 surfers in the world top 10 that call Snapper home. They know it inside out and surf it nearly every day when they're not on the world tour. World number 3, Luke Egan, is one.
You really appreciate it because this is the last time we get to do it all year for the next 12 months, so it's super nice coming, waking up in your own bed and competing. I like it. It's good.
Luke's best mate and 1999 world champion Mark Ogalupo is another.
Snapper, it's our home break and we love it. It'd be hard to beat a snapper, boy, wouldn't it?
And then there are the 3 young surfers who threaten to dominate this year's World Championship Tour. Mick Fanning, Joel Parkinson and Dean Morrison. They grew up together, they went to school together, they're best friends, and they could ride this wave in their sleep. On home turf, these guys are confident, calm and casual.
Yeah, feeling good. Pretty relaxed. Just cruising. We surf out there every day. We know where it breaks, and we I think we know a little bit better where the wave, what the wave's going to do, and what barrels to take, and what line to pick in them.
The other danger man in this event is the king, Kelly Slater. The 6-time world champion loves the waves of the Gold Coast, and he loves winning even more.
I think it's important to get a good start. First event, you gotta get a good result. So I'm looking forward to trying to do that here this week.
On day 1 of competition, the 2003 World Tour kicked off in fine style. Small but perfect waves ran down the magical Snapper Rock sandbar. Contest or no contest, these are the conditions that surfers dream of.
Oh, it's pumping. Yeah, looks good. Can't wait to get out there. It should be unreal. Surfing's going to be unreal. 2 guys with skis and they're out there pumping.
The first wave of the event was ridden by the oldest surfer on tour, 35-year-old Mark Ogalupo. It was a roaring start for Oki, a 9.7 ride. But it wasn't enough. Sydney surfer Luke Hitchings snuck into a tube and won the heat. Round 1 of a World Championship Tour event is more of a warm-up for the surfers. 3 compete in each heat. The winner goes straight through to round 3. The 2 losers get another chance in the second round. So everyone gets to tune into the feel of the wave, and they get a second chance if things go wrong. It's a second chance that some would be thankful for. Local hero Mick Fanning couldn't capitalise on his home beach advantage and came last in his opening heat for the year. The form surfer of that heat was Brazil's Neco Padarats. Padarats had just won 2 contests in a row back home, and he was single-mindedly chasing another victory here on the Gold Coast. Every surfer and every spectator had their eyes locked on Kelly Slater in his heat. He won easily, but was the Slater magic all there? It was too early to tell. Other winners on day 1 were current world champion Andy Irons, West Australian Taj Burrow, Hawaiian Sonny Garcia and Danny Wills. Next day dawned in classic Gold Coast style. Clear skies, warm water and perfect surf.
The surf's come up a little bit today. It looks
It looks like it's going to get really good in a little while.
The contest would be on soon, and the world's best raced to catch an early warm-up wave.
Yeah, it should be good, you know. Give it each person an equal opportunity, so it'll be fun.
Surfing journalist Nick Carroll was getting a surfer's eye view of the conditions.
Don't really have a clear form guide in this contest yet. I think guys are still feeling it out. You know, they're just coming back to work really. And the rest of us have been back at work since about January the 1st, but they're only just coming back on the job now, and they're just feeling their way back into the competition framework.
Counting down to his first heat of 2003, last year's winner and local favourite, Joel Parkinson.
Incredible. Incredible. They're not incredible, they're incredible.
Always cheeky, always super relaxed, you'd never guess that Parko is the #2 rated surfer in the world and is on a mission to be #1.
Oh. 8 weeks.
Good luck, mate. Have a good eat.
Cheers.
We're just warming up for a red hot day of competition right here. We're going to finish up round number 1 at Quiksilver Pro, and then who knows where we'll go from there.
It was still the first round. No one would be knocked out, but losing means running the extra gauntlet of elimination in the second round.
Joe Parkinson way behind the rocks. Big snap under the lip and back into the barrel. He's still in there, man. He grabs. Can he come out?
The upsets continued as another local favourite, Dean Morrison, was forced to surf again in the second round alongside other home ground heroes Mick Fanning and Mark Occhilupo. In excellent waves like these, the slightest mistake was proving costly. It was the first sign that in this contest, even the most extraordinary and high-scoring rides would not be enough for victory. The groundwork was being laid for one of the highest performance pro surfing contests in history. Californian surfer Pat O'Connell sent a warning shot across the event site with a blistering round 1 heat. A spectacular tube ride helped him claim the highest heat total of the competition so far, 18.8. A panel of 5 judges score each surfer's ride out of 10. The 2 best waves of their heat are combined to give a final tally out of 20. More high-scoring waves like these, and Pat could find himself surfing through to the business end of the contest. By lunchtime, round 1 was over. The surf was excellent, and it was straight into round 2. From here on in, the surfers compete man-on-man in sudden death heats. To lose in round 2 is to come equal 33rd, which is a technical way of saying last. Coming last in the first event of the year is a professional surfer's worst nightmare. That wasn't going to happen for Joel Parkinson or Mick Fanning, who effortlessly kicked back into gear and dominated the waves. Ockie finally found his feet again to just get by tour newcomer Luke Steadman of Sydney. Also winning through to the third round today, Australians Mick Lowe and Kieran Perro, Hawaii's Kalani Robb, and Damien Hobgood and Corey Lopez from Florida in the United States.
I mean, really, you know what? It was unfortunate for a lot of the guys who lost because they even surfed real well. You know, it's competition. That's the best thing about it is, you know, you put 2 guys out there. Obviously, one guy might have a better record or, you know, be the odds favorite, but you never really know until they go out and surf, and you might just luck into that perfect wave and, you know, get a tube ride and get a 10 and put the guy on the ropes and see what happens. So.
And that's the X factor with the art of surfing. The other player in every heat is the ocean. No one can control or predict which way the waves will go for a competitor. And as the sun sets on one day of surfing, the next will always be different. Saturday dawned with the best surf of the event so far. When the waves are this good, no surfer worth his salt sleeps in. The Quiksilver Pro was enjoying a lucky streak of surf, and the second half of round 2 was completed in ideal conditions. With the world's best surfers putting on a show, the sand became more and more crowded throughout the morning. West Australian Jake Patterson thrilled the weekend crowd with an extraordinary display of tube riding and carving, scoring a 9 and a 9.1 for his top 2 waves. The power of local knowledge began to be a deciding factor in the early rounds. Sydney's Nathan Hedge was wondering what he'd done to upset the gods of surfing when he drew an in-form Dean Morrison in perfect conditions at his home break. Both surfers fought the heat like it was a final. Hedge's powerful backhand surfing kept him in front until the final few minutes. Then Morrison's natural affinity with this wave gave him the edge. He slipped into a tube, scored a 9.17 and stole victory. The raw Australian attitude of Mick Campbell blazed through in the next heat as he posted the highest score of the round. Mick's opponent, Flavio Paterats, was left to wonder just how tough the Quiksilver Pro had become.
When you go out in the heat, you make one little mistake, you lose the heat. It's black and white, you know, because it's so competitive. The guys are so much on the limit right now that one little mistake, you're out because it's too good, too much competition.
A victory for California's Taylor Knox over Australia's Richie Lovett completed the second round. Other round 2 winners were CJ Hobgood and Shane Dorian, plus Brazilians Paulo Moura and Pedersen Rosa. The surf showed no sign of fading, and the contest moved straight into round 3. Mick Fanning sent a wave of joy through the crowd and a wave of fear through his opponents with an awe-inspiring display of fast, precise surfing on his favourite wave. Mick scored a 9.5 and a 9.57 to post the highest heat score of his WCT career. Fanning's childhood buddies, Dean Morrison and Joel Parkinson, were on his tail. Dean with a terrifyingly in-form heat against Danny Wills. This was some of the best surfing of the contest so far. The huge crowd barely had time to readjust their bikinis before one of their heroes strode down the sand. Multiple world champion, Kelly Slater. Kelly didn't disappoint, beating Australia's Shane Powell and drawing Dean Morrison for the next round. The day closed with a victory for world champ Andy Irons. Andy has been quietly working his way through his heats while the focus and the pressure stayed on the local surfers. But you take your eye off the champ at your peril, as young wildcard Troy Brooks discovered. Other winners from the first half of round 3 were Sonny Garcia, Mick Campbell, Taj Burrow and Jake Patterson. The event had reached the halfway mark. The surfing standard had been unprecedented and trends were starting to show.
It's already beginning to evolve into a story of the Cooley kids, the 3 great surfers who live here and they surf here all the time, Dean Morrison and Mick Fanning and Joel Parkinson. Dean just looks so confident and easy and relaxed, and probably the best I think I've seen him at this level of competition. The one guy today whose performance was quite telling too was Kelly Slater. He seems to be trying to make easy moves look hard, maybe to impress the judges. And the trouble is that all these other guys are making hard moves look easy, and it's a critical difference at this level of competition. I think if Kelly does find his feet, and stops trying to impress and just relaxes into his rhythm, then he'll be a real threat at this contest. But if he can't do that, he just won't be the threat that people expect.
But the thing is, people expect everything from Kelly Slater. And throughout his extraordinary career, he has rarely failed to deliver. This ultra-focused 31-year-old from Florida is the Michael Jordan of surfing. He has more fame, more world titles, more natural talent and more fans than any other surfer. In the Quiksilver Pro, the biggest crowds of the day came to the beach with 2 words on their lips. Where's Kelly?
Pretty cool that this is my job and people like to come watch me do this, you know. So it's really an honor. Sometimes it's a little heavy. I get a little claustrophobic with that many people around me or something, but I'm somewhat used to it now after all this time. But that was a little wake-up call. I haven't had that in a while.
After dominating surfing in the 90s, Slater became a little bit bored and a little bit burnt out. He took a 3-year holiday from the constant competition of the world tour and just did his own thing.
I just like to listen to music and play some golf and play music, play guitar and surf. Just surf my brains out.
But last year saw the return of the king. Kelly came back to the tour and landed straight under the surfing microscope. Could the champ cut it against a new generation of surfing superstars? Did he still have the rampant desire to win that took him to half a dozen world titles? Kelly showed flashes of brilliance, but his focus wasn't at the lethal level of his heyday. But despite the distractions and the diversions, Slater still finished 9th in the world. And he was well impressed with the look of the modern-day ASP Tour.
The level of surfing is really high now. You know, when I first got on tour, I didn't think the level of surfing was very high. And now I can really say that I'm proud of the guys I'm surfing with, you know. I mean, these guys are just doing stuff that's crazy. And you know, it's nice to want to be at a contest and watch because, you know, somebody's going to step up and do something above ordinary, you know.
A lot has changed in the world of professional surfing since Kelly's first world title in 1992. But how much has changed in the world of Kelly Slater?
Well, surfing-wise, I think I'm just stronger. I think I surf better now than I did then. Mentally and emotionally, I feel like I'm just more comfortable. You know, I spend a lot of time traveling around the world. You start to learn a few things, so that's helped.
Most of Kelly's peers still believe he is the best surfer in the world on his day. The big question for 2003 is, can Kelly make his day a contest day? And will the challenge of younger surfers like Andy Irons, Joel Parkinson and Mick Fanning fire him up for one more title? Kelly Slater will have the answers soon enough. The early signs are the competitive flame still burns.
I feel like it's all coming together for me. I feel like my surfing's there. I've spent a lot of time out of the water recently, which kind of brings the desire up.
It's Sunday morning on the Gold Coast. Some people are home in bed reading the papers. Hawaiian veteran Sonny Garcia is sitting quietly in the shade reading the waves.
I'm not here to win, I'm just here to do well and get a good result under my belt. Yeah, I just was injured a lot last year, so wasn't able to run or get in the gym and work out. So been enjoying the time off and watching TV and eating donuts and all those kind of things. So hopefully as the season goes along, I'll surf myself back into shape and look at giving the boys a hard time for that world title. And if I can't win it, hopefully I'll make it very hard on whoever does.
Sonny had a little while to wait before taking his threat to the water. The Quiksilver Pro was on hold for the morning, but the growing crowd of fans were in for a treat. The Foster's Expression Session.
Yes, only at the Quiksilver Pro and only at Snapper Rocks. What a venue, incredible surfing, incredible waves, and 10.5 minutes remaining, and the judges and the American have their work cut out for them.
The Foster's Expression Session is a chance for the surfers to take a few crazy risks with their surfing outside of the normal competition format. Up for grabs, $2,000 for best wave and $1,000 for most radical manoeuvre. The Foster's Expression Session took a surprise turn when Kelly Slater invited a special guest star to join him in the water, Californian surfer Jesse Belauer. As a teenager, Jesse was a top-rated pro surfer until a surfing accident left him paralysed. It didn't stop his passion for surfing, and with the help of his famous friends and a specialised surfboard, he was soon back out in the ocean. Jesse combined with Kelly to score one of the rides of the day.
Being out there, man, it was just the greatest feeling because just pushing into the waves, just love it, you know, and surfing for me is my life, you know, and after I got injured, the water is like the best place for me to be. Life rolls on, for sure, and I'm not worried about drowning at all.
That's amazing. Yeah, we take a lot for granted, don't we?
And the Foster's Expression Session rolled on to a radical finish. Best wave went to Jake Patterson, and most radical manoeuvre went to tour rookie Luke Steadman.
It's really entertaining for the crowd, and it's good for the surfers to get out there and just have fun and enjoy the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, it's pretty pumped out there. Like, just want to get out and try out a new board. You know, it's really good for the surfers to get out there and show, you know, everyone what we got in like an expression session. It's really cool.
An ASP World Championship Tour event can be completed in only 4 or 5 days. But when you're dealing with the whims of Mother Nature, it's best to be flexible. That's why events like the Quiksilver Pro have a waiting period of up to 12 days. If the surf's good, the event is on. But if the swell isn't cooperating, there's always the option to wait for a better day.
Could be gone by tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's why I think could be gone by tomorrow morning.
Stand by.
It's good, but you're going to get over 7, and that's if you blow up.
At lunchtime on Sunday, the surfers and event directors had a quick conference.
He's so hot right now.
Maybe wait for the tide.
I'm scared.
Not a 30-minute heat. No, we have to stop by 12.
Well,
Here at Snapper Rocks, the surf was already getting really good. The question was, would it get really, really good?
High tide was good yesterday. No, low tide. I thought low tide it gets ordinary. Yeah, low tide.
Once again, he's clear share waves, and this time
Maybe it would improve, but it was hard for anyone to ignore what was right before their eyes. The call was made. Round 3 would run through the afternoon. Joel Parkinson, CJ Hobgood and Kieran Perro scored highly to win the first 3 heats. Then Ockie took to the water against Luke Hitchings and brought the house down. It was an afternoon of epic waves and surfing. Local lad Luke Egan was another standout. Also with his steely gaze locked on victory, the enigmatic Brazilian Neko Patarats. Neko was methodically mowing down some big names. His next scalp was American Damien Hopgood.
It's always hard to get hit like 10 men. even CJ, because they're such a perfect surface, you know. They don't fall, they don't do mistakes. It's hard. I always know that every time I have a heat with them, it's always shaking from before the heat into the end.
There was another form surfer zipping through the heat draw, Pat O'Connell. After beating Aussie Mick Lowe, Pat was still overwhelmed at the quality of the waves and the surfing.
Whew, I told myself, you know, I was watching such good surfing today that not to get too caught up in it, because your mind's racing, you know, you can stand up on a wave and it's so long. I mean, you have so many opportunities to turn. And gosh, I watched Aki ride a wave today that it was probably the best I've ever seen anybody surf. And so I didn't want to, you know, have that too much in my mind. I just wanted to relax and ride the wave the way I knew I could. And no matter what, just find a way to win.
One of Pat's good friends from California, Taylor Knox, won the last heat of the day in perfect surfing conditions. With these waves offering the ultimate canvas for high-performance surfing, the talk on the beach got technical. Even after riding one of the waves of the contest, Aki was wondering if the scoring bar was at the right height.
Well, you know, I didn't think it was really 10. I mean, I got a 9.9, but, you know, I surfed the wave perfect. I was expecting a 10, but I think the judges should maybe drop the scale by a couple points, because everyone's surfing that good. Everyone's getting 9s, and I think if they drop their scale 2 points, we're all going to surf better. I mean, you know, it's pretty critical. Just if you miss a turn, you know, you should lose a point. But I'm not saying that they should downgrade my surfing, but I mean everyone's. They should maybe, you know.
How to rate these incredible performances was becoming a challenge.
The judges are faced with a real conundrum here at Snapper Rocks, because what they're seeing is the best surfers in the world elevating their technical skill to the highest level that I think anyone's ever seen in surfing before. And somehow the judges aren't finding it in their hearts to award a 10 out of 10 for any ride, no matter how insane.
Joel Parkinson had just missed out on a 10 that morning. But if the judges were marking professional surfing careers, he'd be heading for a perfect score. Down in the Snapper Rocks car park, Parko is like any 22-year-old Australian surfer hanging out with his mates.
I wonder if all my mates are going to help me push the car.
Come on, forward, Charlie, we go back. Forward. Just bring around. We'll push you. Jump in, Charlie.
He even needs a hand to get his old four-wheel drive back home.
Oh, we're on.
The big difference with Parko is once he gets home, there's a few more cars waiting for him in the garage.
Sounds good, eh? This thing's nice too. I don't know, it's hard. I think that one sounds better though. Sun sounds good though. Not as good, I don't think. I think that one's better.
And this is not your average 22-year-old's house. It's been a rapid rise from being a kid on the beach to the king of the hill.
It's happened quick, for sure. And it's cool because I always lived at my old man's. I lived in this little room, and it was always good because, you know, you got the meals cooked and my washing done. Now I can do that all myself, but, you know, it's good. It's good because all my mates know where I live and they're always here, so there's always people hanging out and always got someone to hang with, so. Yeah, freedom! Hi. How are you? Where you been? Did you go out again last night?
Went to Brisbane.
What?
Death metal concert.
What?
He may be top of the pack now, but Joel is making sure the next generation comes with him.
Little Joshy, he's our little cadet champion in Snapper Rocks. Best backhand tube rider around, mate, aren't you? Yeah. I got so much out of other surfers, especially the older guys. I mean, now all the younger guys are probably getting stuff out of all of us guys, and you know, it's good. I think it's just, you know, a few more years and they'll be getting, you know, grommets will be getting more out of the grommets that we call the grommets or whatever, so.
Proudly watching over as this incredible career unfolds, Joel's dad, Brian.
And I love surfing with him when he was a young fella, watching him improve and go from strength to strength. Gone from the junior series to the CT, and It just gets better all the time. You know? But unfortunately, there's not another level.
He has a beautiful house and a garage full of expensive cars and surfboards. But for Joel Parkinson, the best thing about being a pro surfer is something a lot simpler.
Probably just surfing all day when the waves are good. That'd be definitely it.
After 4 days of great surf in a row, it was becoming Groundhog Day on the Gold Coast. 2-time world champion and Quiksilver Pro contest director Tom Carroll could see no reason to stop surfing.
Today's a Monday and swell's kind of cleaned up a bit, and it's dropped slightly. And we look to run the 4th round right through this morning and then decide whether to keep going.
Joel Parkinson would be out in the water regardless.
Nice deep one there, huh? Well, he's in heaven out here, home break. He knows it back to front.
Taj Burrow was looking forward to another day performing for the masses of surfing fans at the Quiksilver Pro.
It's looking pretty fun. It's kind of the same size as yesterday, but such good shape. It's just perfect down the point. It's crazy, as soon as you get a good wave, everyone lets you know, it's the whole place lights up. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, the waves are sick. It's like, a little bit smaller, but it's just every wave's just running the whole way, so it's really fun.
Fun or not, Mick Fanning had a serious opponent waiting for him in the day's first heat, Sonny Garcia.
I'm probably surfing out here while he's still in his diapers.
Mick Fanning had the last laugh in that exchange. Next, Taj Burrow wrestled Mick Campbell out of the event. Then the heat that stopped the beach. Would Dean Morrison's confident run of form be enough to beat Kelly Slater? A heat against Slater happens in the mind as much as on the wave. Kelly's reputation can have opponents beaten before they hit the water. But the champ fumbled. Dino stayed strong and he was through to the quarterfinals with a mighty scalp to his name.
Yeah, it was... Actually, I didn't sleep last night. I was up all night. I was thinking about it, and then I just kind of drifted up to sleep probably about 1:30 this morning. I just thought, well, these are the heats that I've always dreamed of, surfing against my hero. I felt like I didn't surf my best out there on the waves. So I was kind of nervous, and I just got really lucky. He made a couple of mistakes out there that he doesn't usually make, and I can't believe it. I'm so stoked.
Another surfing star fell in the following heat. Reigning world champ Andy Irons rattled by a rampaging Jake Patterson.
Looking for a barrel. He's driving, still in the barrel, still going. Is he coming out? Can he make it? Here he comes. Yeah!
Joel Parkinson's progress continued against CJ Hobgood in Heat 5.
He's still in there. Oh my God, he's out. Well, Andy Mac, seconds there.
And Docky maintained his systematic assault on the snapper waves to beat Kieran Perro. But the march of the local surfers was stopped in the next heat. The power of Luke Egan could not block the passion of Neko Patarats.
You know I got your number, but I'm never gonna call ya. You know I really like ya, but I'm gonna have to kill ya.
Fellow Californians Taylor Knox and Pat O'Connell put their friendship on hold for the last heat of round 4. Pat had the edge.
I wanted to kick his ass, but he had the best heat of his life against me, and I could have done better, so I'm stoked for him. He's one of my best friends. I love him.
The quarterfinals began with an extraordinary heat between Mick Fanning and Taj Burrow. Four minutes into the heat, Taj took the lead with an 8.83. Mick answered back with a 9.6. Then he followed that with the first perfect 10 of the event. Within minutes, Taj came back with a 9.37. Fanning's two highest scoring waves added up to an incredible 19.6 out of 20. Even though Burrow had 18.2, he'd need at least a 10 and a wave higher than 9.6 to win. Almost impossible, or was it? Taj swung into action. His wave scored 9.1, taking Taj to 18.47, but not to victory. It was a total that would have won him nearly every other heat in the contest. This was one of the highest scoring heats in the history of the World Championship Tour. Quarterfinal number 2 was a seesawing struggle between Dean Morrison and Jake Patterson. Both surfers had been electrifying throughout the contest. It was no surprise they'd be so close when they finally met head-to-head. Jake held a tiny lead through the second half of the heat. Then Dean, with 3 minutes to go, calmly stole an 8-point ride from under his nose and won by 0.91.
Semi-final number 1 from obviously.
The parochial Gold Coast crowd was torn by quarterfinal number 3 as two of the most popular surfers in town faced off. There was only room for one joker in the semi-final pack. Either Joel Parkinson or Mark Occhilupo had to go.
Parker, he's had a 9, 5 and 8 or something. Yeah, smashing him at the moment.
It was good news for Occy fans. 8 minutes into the heat and he had Parko on the ropes. A last-minute dash by Joel wasn't enough and Ock was through. Quarterfinal number 4 ended the parade of Aussie surfers in the finals. Brazilian Neko Patarats faced American Pat O'Connell. They may live on the other side of the world, but they were right at home here on the Gold Coast. It was a brutal exchange of fast, powerful surfing. The lead swapped hands 4 times until Pat landed a 9 and Neko ran out of time to reply. As the first semi-final hit the water, the atmosphere on the sand and in the car park was charged with anticipation. It was like almost any other day here at Snapper Rocks. Mick Fanning and Dean Morrison paddling through the lineup for an afternoon surf. The difference was, now they were competing for a place in a World Tour final, a chance to win $60,000 American dollars and begin 2003 on top of the world rankings. Today, Dean had the upper hand, landing 2 9+ rides.
Put your hands together for Dean Morrison.
Yeah, it was really special, you know. We've grown up
all the time, surfing against each other, and ever since we were little kids, Dino beat me, so I guess it's just keep going on, doesn't it?
You know, something we dream of would have been Dean surfing against Kelly this morning, and now Mick and Dean together is something we dream of, you know, semi-final at a local break. And that's stoked for Dean. So I'm ready to cry, but you'll hear the cheers from the final, will be good.
So who would Dean Morrison meet in the final? His hero, the legendary Mark Occhilupo, or the fast and focused American Pat O'Connell? Occy signalled his intentions early in semi-final number 2. Pat had some answers, but not enough to stop Occy, who was living up to one of his nicknames, the Raging Bull. The local crowd had plenty to be happy about. Both their boys were in the final. Either way, there'd be huge celebrations tonight. This was Dean Morrison's first ever WCT final. Mark Occhilupo has won 12 finals in his career and a world title. But today, youth had the edge over experience as Dean launched a stunning opening assault. His first wave was a 9. Wave 2 scored 9.73. Morrison already had 18.73 out of 20, the 4th highest heat total of the entire event. After surfing 3 heats during the day, Occy was clearly exhausted. His legs just wouldn't carry him through the home stretch. As Occhilupo waned, Morrison just got stronger. As the clock wound down in the final, the result was beyond question. The Snapper Rocks car park had a new king.
This is the car park king, original last year, real McCoy hat. Goes to Dino. Dino's the new king. Car park king.
Here for being here and just sharing just for me. I can't believe it. There you have it,
3/4 of the way, I said, "Aren't your legs sore?" And he said, yeah, they're cramping. I'm like, mate, I can't even feel mine.
It was just like a dream, you know. I was 3 waves off the bat, and I was going, whoa, and I didn't know what my scores were, and I didn't think they were that high. I heard and I was like, whoa. And yeah, it's like a dream. I can't believe it.
That was amazing. He smashed it. He just built his confidence the whole time, and you can tell he's just as confident as he's ever been on those last couple.
Dino's performance today was outstanding, and to peak like that in the final, he did a couple of turns that I really think he peaked, and that's the right time to peak, and that's one of the hardest things to acquire while you're surfing the contest is peak in the last heat of the day, you know.
That was an amazing performance today by the little bloke. He kept his head in all sorts of situations. Last year he would never have kept his head through all that stuff. He's obviously a different Dino this year.
It's still pretty hard to know what I was feeling because it was like I don't think in my wildest dreams that what happened for me then was going to happen, you know, because I had such a bad year last year. And I kind of thought to myself, if I was ever going, am I ever going to win a contest?
So the final results of the Quiksilver Pro for 2003 are: first, Dean Morrison; second, Mark Okalupo; equal third, Mick Fanning and Pat O'Connell; equal fifth, Taj Burrow, Jake Patterson, Joel Parkinson and Neko Padarats. And because this is the first event of the ASP World Championship Tour, the world title rankings are exactly the same as the contest results. But that will all change as the tour heads to its next destination, Bells Beach in the southern Australian state of Victoria, who'll climb another rung up the ratings ladder towards a world title. We'll see in our next episode from the ASP World Championship Tour of Surfing.
I'd say there's already a trend toward faster surfing. There's already a trend in the judging that it's clear that no one's going to get an easy break this year. You know, it doesn't matter about your reputation this year. Didn't matter that Andy Irons was a world champ, he still lost fairly quickly out here when it came down to it. And didn't matter if Kelly Slater was Kelly Slater. You know, if he didn't perform, the judges were not going to hand him anything. So I think that's really the trend for the year, and it's going to be the people who work the hardest who win.